In this video, I'll be showing you how to crush ads with a small budget in 2026 and why the brands struggling on a small budget actually don't even have a budget problem. And after generating well over $7 million for e-commerce brands and making thousands and thousands of creatives, I've discovered that a small budget doesn't actually lose because it is small. It loses because at smaller spend levels, it amplifies your creative problem. And a weak creative, no matter how big you are, fails at every single level. And that's why I'm making this video today, to show you that the real lever for brands is your creative. What has to happen before you spend $1, and also how to test intelligently where every dollar does count. So with that said, let's get into it. Now, a lot of brands believe that having a small budget is the biggest problem in their business. And what a lot of brands don't realize is that even if you 10x spend right now, it's only going to amplify your problem, which oftentimes is the creative. And now, while yes, it is true that if you have a higher budget, you will get data quicker and be able to make decisions quicker. And so what ends up happening for a lot of these brands is they think, okay, let's just throw money at this. If we throw money at this, it's going to fix our problem where our cost per acquisition isn't where we want it to be. And more importantly, we're not even close to being profitable or where we want to be as a business. And every single small budget brand that comes to us and says, hey, what is the issue? What can we do to fix this? The first thing they always tell me is, okay, can we just increase budget? Will this fix our problem? And 9 times out of 10, the bottleneck is just launching enough creatives, but more specifically, high quality creatives. And especially at these smaller budgets, the thing that a lot of brands will do is like, okay, let's just pump out more ads, pump out more ads. If budget isn't the problem, then clearly we need to pump out more creatives. If you're at a smaller budget, which is below $1,000 per day, realistically, you need 30, 40 really high quality ads. And that's what it takes to be able to scale to that higher budget. Because if your cost per acquisition isn't where it needs to be on a low budget, it's definitely not going to be where it needs to be on a higher budget, where Meta has to serve these ads to more people. Because a high cost per acquisition doesn't mean that you necessarily have a data problem, which again, you want to feed as much data to Meta as you possibly can. But the biggest issue is Meta is like, these ads aren't good. And so as a result, even at $100, $200, $300 per day, it's like, we are running out of people to show this to. Who can we show your ad to? And the best performing small budget brands that I've seen, that we've worked with, that we've helped scale from basically nothing to multiple 6 figures a month, is they understand that quality creatives come first, budget comes second. So as a result, they are launching high quality ads. And the biggest mistake that I will see brands make is they think that increasing spend is magically going to fix their creative problem. So until your cost per acquisition or whatever metric you are looking for to increase spend is getting to where it needs to be, you shouldn't even think about increasing your budget. And the other mistake that a lot of brands will make is they'll think, okay, let's just dump more ads. Let's just keep pumping out more ads. But as a result, I've seen brands that are scaling quicker by having 10, 20, 30 quality ads that they are confident that's testing different avatars, that's testing different formats. And then of course, Meta's going to drop your cost per acquisition. And as a result, you're able to scale your brand substantially quicker. So creative absolutely is the lever, but strong creative doesn't actually even start with the script. It doesn't start with the filming. It starts with something before you even spend anything at all. And this is one of the most important things that you can do as a brand before you make a single ad, is take 1 hour, 2 hours, and go through and figure out who your actual customer is. Who are they? How old are they? What do they look like? What problems have they had before? What have they tried to solve before? Because there's a couple different things that you need to hit. You need to hit different pain points, different avatars, different formats, and different awareness levels. For example, some people know that they have a problem and they've tried other things before, and then you can introduce your product as an alternative to that. A lot of other people, if you want to hit these high levels of spend on Meta, is you have to show them that, hey, you didn't even realize that you had this problem. Here's how our product can solve that and help you with that specific scenario. Or even taking a step further, you're going to be doing less middle of funnel ads, but you can reframe somebody's belief about, hey, we've tried a certain thing before, it didn't work, here's why this will work. And if you're looking for the biggest return on investment or return on time that you can have as a brand with a smaller budget, sub $1,000 per day, the most profitable thing that you can do with your time is spending time understanding your customers. Because the bigger brands, they have infinitely more data. They know everything about their customer. They can extract all this information just from their own customer base, and you don't have that luxury. So a lot of your time should be spent on what are the problems that they have, what are the things that they care about, what does life look like when they have this problem, what other things have they tried before. And only when you understand this can you even think about making a good quality creative. Now, you see why creative is the lever and research is the foundation behind all. So if you do want ad creatives that actually convert for your e-commerce brand with research and intent behind it, you can click the link to book a call with me and my team below. We'll show you exactly how we would approach this for your brand and do a creative audit and show you how we can implement this process so that way you guys can get to the bigger budgets, to get to the higher levels that you're aiming to be. Now, there's one format in particular that we have seen just works absolutely amazing for smaller budget brands time and time again, and that's actually the skit format of creatives. Why is this? Because Meta has a substantially easier time showing this to people because it blends in with native content. The best ads that we are seeing work across the board, all niches, all sizes, is ads that don't look and feel like ads. Why is this? Because Meta wants to keep people on their platform. So if it's a bad experience, if people are constantly scrolling away, Meta is going to give you higher costs, and therefore it's going to be harder for you to hit your cost per acquisition that you are looking for. And the other big competitive advantage is a lot of these big brands, these 7-figure, 8-figure brands, and now this is starting to change. This will probably be different in the next 2-3 years, but as of right now, these bigger brands are more hesitant on running these style of ads because it takes approval after approval. So if you go to these kind of guerrilla style creatives where it doesn't feel like an ad, you have a massive advantage over these other big brands who aren't willing, and they think, oh, that's just an organic thing, that's just a TikTok thing. Whereas you know that the ads that don't feel like ads that are mimicking organic content, are converting the best right now, because the performance of a skit comes from the people behind the video and also the actual format and how the research was done on your customers. So that way you're able to outbeat some of these bigger brands with a bigger budget and who can afford a much higher cost per acquisition, because you are beating them with direct response marketing principles. And a lot of brands get this wrong by making it feel like an ad and just selling the product right away, whereas this is made to feel like a natural conversation that your customers just genuinely want to watch. People buy from people that they think and look and feel like them. So if you go into sales mode right away, which a lot of these big brands do, they just start selling the product right away, you're able to beat them because you understand your customer and their pain points better than your competition. So how should a small brand budget actually approach testing? One, you should be very strategic. Make sure that every single ad that you launch has a purpose. So for example, if you try to launch 50 ads on a $200 per day budget, that's just way too much volume for Meta. So you should map out a couple of avatars, a couple of pain points, a couple of awareness stages with a couple of formats, and strategically test all those so you figure out what's the best format, what's the best avatar, what are the pain points that my customers care about the most, and then you can double down on that. And smart testing means that every single dollar that you put behind an ad or behind your campaign, you are learning something new, because you can learn just as much from your losing ads that don't accumulate as much spend as you can from your winning ads. It is important for you to cross off sections of people, sections of avatars, different demographics of people, and realize, hey, this isn't who is buying our product. It doesn't mean that they won't ever, but as of right now, you need one angle, you need one format, you need one persona to get to the levels of 100, 200, 300, 400K plus per month, and then you diversify. So now you've seen the pieces from creative as a lever to research to a skit format to smart testing. Let me put all this together in a very simple, very easy to follow playbook that you can go along. So what is the one thing that you can't control? You can't control the spend behind an ad. Now, a lot of brands, they will force this and try to put it in an ABO, test every single ad. Let Meta spend. Let Meta tell you what is the best performing ad. It might not perform right off the bat, but if it's generating spend, in Meta's perspective, that is the best thing that you uploaded in your ad account. And the way that you earn spend and you take it from other brands and you apply it to your brand is having a skit that is well structured. Talk about a payoff. So for example, a lot of the skits that we make, it starts with a big payoff. What does life look like? Selling the dream. Or other situations will make it feel like a real conversation between a husband and wife, between two friends, whatever social situation you can fabricate to make it make sense between your two customers, between two people who might actively be talking about your product. And then once we figure out, hey, this angle is working the best, this avatar is working the best, then we're going to double down on that. And this is the exact same approach that me and my team use to test for brands. Everything we test, every single ad that we make has a purpose and has a reason. And just like the ads that outperform, we take the winners out of those whatever batch of creatives that we launch for brands. We are able to say, these are the problems that we talk about in the ad. This is the format. This is the awareness level. This is the sophistication that the average customer has based on this ad. And we can also cross off things on the ads that didn't work, the ads that didn't get spent, and would say, okay, maybe this avatar isn't something we want to target right now. Maybe this persona we should save for later as we start to scale the brand, because we need to double down on this one specific creative. So the creative strategy and the research behind the actual ad is the most important thing that you need to focus on. So now that you've seen how to actually crush ads with a small budget in 2026, from why small budgets actually fail to creative being the actual real lever, the research before you spend, and then running the skit format to just accumulate as much spend as humanly possible. You can stop waiting for a bigger budget for something to magically happen. Instead, work with the budget that you do have. So if you do want ad creatives that actually convert for your e-commerce brand, click the link, book a call with me and my team at Quantum Media, where we'll show you how to make literally every single dollar count for your brand, because the ads that you launch and fail, it is going to cost you more money. And so with that said, I'll see everybody in the next video.